Well, this is the time of year when everybody, you go through your life and you ransack it and you try to figure out the things you did wrong, the things you shouldn't have done, and the things that were silly. So you should have a list of New Year's resolutions.
I have.
I'm going to ask you to call them out to us.
Oh, no. I have a little book, and I keep many things in that little black book, I call it, my black book.
You've got very pretty blue eyes, Swanson.
Here's a blue, too, and very pretty. And
let us go to our...
Will you go ahead?
Let's get the heads.
Well,
come on, give me some New Year's resolutions.
I have it in a little black book. I can't remember them all except
Where is the little black book?
On the table.
Let me have the little black book.
Oh.
I will get it.
I think I better bring my specs along.
Huh?
I remember one.
Let me see the specs. Yeah, that looks a little more elegant.
Yes, But not for here. No, we'll use the big ones. Oh, I remember one, my first one. And that is to practice what I preach. Not just half the time or 1/10 of the time.
It's a very good resolution.
But try this 1952 all of the time.
That'd be very good for everybody to resolve to practice what they preach.
Oh, how much I preached.
It'd be awful for newspapermen. They're always directing all the currents of the world.
Well, a parent, for a parent. Because children can remind you, sometimes of the things that you tell them to do, and then you don't do them yourself.
Too true.
It so happened, I can remember, I was walking down Fifth Avenue. Michelle is 19 and a half now, and she was about 8. And hand in hand, we were walking down the avenue, and she saw somebody who was physically handicapped. And childlike, she laughed and said, "Oh, Mommy, look at that lady." And I said to her, "But for the grace of God, there go you." And she looked at me with these great big brown eyes. I knew she didn't understand what I meant, so I repeated it. And I said, "Michelle, it's only by chance that you aren't that lady and she isn't you." And then she understood. But since then, and I've been thinking about it recently, while I haven't perhaps criticized somebody who's physically handicapped, perhaps I've criticized. And I've often thought, I wouldn't do that if I were they, or we do it all the time. So I've decided, come this New Year's, I'm going to be a good girl about that.
I think those are two very good resolutions.
Oh, and there's another one here. Oh, and this has to do about not compromising with a principle.
Not compromise. Well, that's a little difficult. I think everybody has to compromise, Gloria.
I suppose so, but not with a principle. Maybe with a...
Well, yeah, I see what you mean.
You can sort of...
Well, I think we've had an example of it here just in the suit that Tallulah Bankhead's brought.
Well, all right, that's a good one. I mean, she knew what she was going to get into, but she decided not to compromise with a principle.
That's right, and it took a lot of courage on her part. I think anybody who's celebrated, if they get in a spot like that, it's in a very difficult spot. And Tallulah Bankhead deserves a lot of credit for going through with it, I think.
I suppose we all...
What do you think out in the audience? Do you agree with that? Because actually...
I want to know something.
What?
I want to know why it is that people, lots of people, misjudge gentleness, understanding, and kindness for weakness. Now, how can you show them that you're really strong, even though you have a good disposition? Is that standing up to principle?
Yeah, it's standing up to principle, but at some point there's the velvet hand and the iron glove. I mean, you must manifest that.
Our Lord Christ had that, did he not?
He certainly did. The Bible says that he did.
Yes. Oh, and I wish you'd help me find a method. A method by which one can know when to help a person and just as important when not to. That
is awfully difficult to figure out. Now, we leave that one to the audience. I think I know what you mean.
I can tell you what
Go ahead.
Well, this has happened to me several times. With one case in point, a cousin of mine, when he was a little boy, and I was in motion pictures, and I could help him out. I put him through school and college, but he didn't make out very well. The crash came, and I said, "Darling, you're on your own from here in." And he was much better off because of that than he was if I had helped him. Now he's very important because of it.
Well, it's the old theory of teaching a person to swim by throwing him off a dock. Well, that's not urged by the high... It's actually, if you've got to do it by yourself, it's both spur and check.
Well, then we have to find a method, though. We just don't know how to do that. Do we have a barometer? Do we put a thermometer in their mouth, or what?
Well, I think you get an instinct about people.
As you grow older?
Well, I don't think it even goes with age. I think that you finally make up your mind that if you continue to help a person, you're going to weaken them, and it's much better to...
Well, then help them to
Make
a
the
certain point and then say, now, no more.
This we are agreed on, yeah.
All right, good. Then, here, I'm going to have a crusade.
That's
A
fine.
real crusade. To get more people over the idea that age is something to be ashamed of, but rather to be proud of. Now, how are we going to do that? Next year, I'm going to be a Girl Scout, and I'm going to try to do something about that.
Swanson's old age pension plan.
No, but I think it's important.
Do you think
that
people are actually ashamed of age?
Lots of people have the attitude that they don't want to talk about it. We mustn't talk about age because it's like an old sack that they carry around. I think Ponce de Leon should be spanked. If we could get a hold of his bones, I'd do it
She's in a
myself.
very happy position on this because she tells you very happily about her age and
You know why?
children. How old is your son? I'll prove
Because
it.
people think I'm older than I am. That's why I tell them my age.
How old is your son? How old is your son, Gloria?
Let's start with my daughter.
Yeah?
30.
30 years old.
Am I fibbing? She may be 31. October. I think she was.
That's a wonderful attitude
But she
to take,
is, as a
isn't it?
matter of fact. In October, she was 31.
Julie Harris and Billy DeWolf and Roger and
You mean they're not
Raymond
that old yet?
No, we were discussing you before.
When I was out
And we said,
behind my back.
holy smokes, just imagine looking that way with a daughter of 30.
I don't know how I look, but I know how I feel.
I'll amend your resolution.
right.
We'll resolve that
We're going to have a crusade.
all people, when they get to be over 35, will look like Swanson.
No, it isn't looking. That isn't the point. I want everybody to be happy to be old. I mean, not to feel that it's some kind of some horrible burden. It isn't. It needn't be. I'll tell. Shall I
She
talk?
keeps looking at me all the time during this, honestly.
But at least you're smiling. That's something, Sonny. Oh!
Sonny, this I love. Sonny. No,
Did you know that the government has a New Year resolution?
The government has made it. Mr. Whiskers has made a New Year's resolution? This I can't believe.
Don't you think it's wonderful?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, you know, that this trying to check inflation, they've put, price control, and now they've decided that for the new year, on about 4 important food items, they're going to take it off.
This I don't believe.
Well,
the
that's
government's,
true.
once they clamp on those controls, they never take them off.
But will you ask me what they're taking it off?
What are they taking off, Miss Swanson?
Walnut sauce.
Walnut
Wait
sauce!
a minute, there's some more.
This makes my life complete now. Walnut sauce I can
Walnut
get without
sauce,
any increase in price?
That's right. And canned rattlesnake meat.
Is it?
Now, this is the truth. I
Is
read
this on the
in the
level?
paper. Well, I don't know. You didn't print it,
I
but at least
just
somebody
imagine
did.
those bureaucrats.
And
Canned rattlesnake. Any of you would like your canned rattlesnake meat?
Wait a
You
minute.
get it? What?
And crepe Suzette.
Crepe Suzette.
I keep this in mind.
The whole
Walnut
country.
sauce, canned rattlesnake meat, and crepe Suzettes, and guess what's last?
What?
Canned fried worms. Now, if we put that all together, let's not.
How do you like it? Did you actually read that in the
I read
newspaper?
that in the newspaper, and I think it's quite true.
Our congratulations to the sovereign fathers at Washington. This is really something.
Did you read this recently, James Perkins?
No.
This is a very good thing for the new year. The best way is for each of us quietly, without excitement or fear, to do the daily job before us. I'm going to remember that one.
Well, I've heard it phrased differently. I have a little tailor by the name of Lou Scalisi at Wall Street Clothes, and I was watching some of his tailors making a suit one day, and I marveled at it. And this old tailor said, no, he said, actually, it's not so difficult. He said, you do it stitch by stitch, which is about a tailor's translation of that. That's very good.
And, each day, when I wake up, this one I am truly going to keep. And when I go to sleep at night, I'm going to count my blessings and give thanks for them. Because I've been truly, truly blessed. And I think we all have, even though it doesn't sometimes seem, the day may have been a hard one, may not seem like it's a day of blessings, but maybe tomorrow, the next day, it'll prove
I think
that it was.
anybody born in this country and are privileged to come to this country can make that resolution. I think those are fine resolutions, Gloria.
And the last one is to resolve to keep my resolutions. Don't you
This
think
one you'll
that's
break.
good?
This is the one you'll break. How about a very nice hand for Gloria Swanson?
God bless you.